All right, guys, we're back here with Derek in Yakima, Washington. How's it going, Derek?
Good enough.
Good enough. That's a good response. What have you been up to since the last time we spoke?
Working on something interesting. I was going to meetings for a while, and I walked out because of some issues that were going on. And I wouldn't have gone back if somebody hadn't come out here and asked me to come back. And so since then, it's changed some things. It's somewhat favorable. At this point, I think where I'm at in my work or whatever is, I guess it might be considered. Just involves some fine-tuning of technology, working on some of the behaviors with people, getting some psychology taken care of. Simplifying something that is a much larger problem. It's hard to explain in a short amount of time, in a way that you would actually understand and appreciate, maybe. I've seen some of the response, though, with this, in that my just mentioning certain things about how I feel.
Yeah.
It triggers a certain response. With regards to people that work in different communities. It's not just a single community. And sometimes you can't even see something going on and it's there. So for me, it's a positive thing because I do notice a difference in addition to what it is that I already see usually every day.
So what is it that you're working on that you see a difference in?
Part of it is changes in the tactics that certain maybe groups or there's a couple of different, I guess maybe you put labels on them, a couple of different influences or forces, I guess, that are trying to do something. And I've noticed that there's been a couple of different changes in tactics lately where, well, wait a second, now what?
And when you say tactics in what?
Trying to get together to create some sort of, almost like a sacrifice, but it's like a scapegoat to try to put something off, where they're able to put something on someone else. It's like a conspiracy almost. But it unfortunately usually doesn't have a true explanation to it. Just something to burn time and keep something busy, especially I think they identify those who are always doing the right thing, those who are not doing the right thing. There's a couple of different groupings where there's people that they're always going to do certain things in certain situations. Oh, are they going to do the right thing or they're not going to do the right thing? And then to try to like bet off of it, game off of it.
Hey Derek, so I remember in the first interview you mentioned that you'd been to Phoenix, that you had done work in Phoenix, correct?
Correct.
Is that the same kind of work that you're describing now, or is it a different?
It does incorporate several elements of some of the programs that we had down in Phoenix. Like I said, I don't know if I've kind of mentioned before, it's kind of like a tower. You've got different layers, they overlay on everything. So some areas have different governance, have different responses dependent upon other influences. It's probably easier to understand and simplified. It's like traffic design, the traffic flow design in your city. The neighborhoods funnel stuff into certain main streets, carries it out into there, and then that way you can at least get to somewhere where this is a result of these other areas ultimately.
So I remember in the first interview you also mentioned something I wanted to ask you about. You said there's wizards in our city, and what do you mean by that? Can you go into detail about that?
There are those who are actively involved in the practice of black magic and sorcery and witchcraft, satanic worship, probably animal sacrifice, except that's probably got some sort of special governance to it that I don't want to deal with that right now. Or at least maybe ritualistic representations. Something does naturally happen or an accident, but the animal is lovingly placed in a very special arrangement or something. It's kind of twisted for the right reasons.
And you said about your designated child for one. I remember that very specifically you said those words.
Correct. That has since changed.
What?
Now, because of certain work that I've gotten involved, long-standing effort with, that changes certain temporal timeline considerations that have something that's outside of my hands because of the significance and the advancement of the work that was already in design. There's just kind of one of those, okay, yeah, at that time it was, now it's closed out, and there's still stuff where all the considerations that I wrote down, I think, still apply in a certain fashion to something that does exist in a different place, in a different time.
So
but
I had people make comments on my channel. You're a subscriber, so I'm sure you might have seen. Have you seen your video?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? So I had people ask, what did you mean by that? I had people thinking that you were describing yourself as being the designated child of one, for one.
Correct.
That's who you were talking about?
Myself. Now, someone else could just put up the paperwork, though, and say, oh, that's me, or put in a name. There's a little bit more to it. It's just stuff that was from previous technological usage, so that there was documentation that existed.
And I've been meaning to ask you this too. I've been wanting to do this interview. What you have around your neck, the gold thing, what is that?
Dragonhead Dream, available for $12.5 million. I have a business arrangement with a Korean national, Jin Hoon Yang, also known as Mr. Bon Voyage. He's got a lot of time in Waikiki Special District. He's got copyright on it. There's some other things that are involved. You can contact Gregory Farron in Honolulu. I think I might have some information somewhere. You could probably Google it.
And you're describing...
It's a copyright, trademark attorney.
And we're talking about the same thing now.
The Dragonhead Dream, yeah.
Okay.
That's that.
Because that thing looks cool, man.
Yeah, it's
I remember it stood
got
out
a lot of consideration, especially for the simulation and usage of
the first time I saw you, I wanted to ask you about that, but it escaped me, you know? So, so where did you get that?
From my business partner. It's a really confidential arrangement. You'll have to contact Gregory Farron if you want more information. If you're truly interested. I'm not here to just give you all the stuff right now.
So the first time we spoke, you mentioned that you were kind of upset with, I wouldn't want to say the mission. Well, you said that they had stores where they weren't giving stuff to the homeless or something like that, right?
Well, the stores exist only as a result of the communities generating the appropriations that are given to the mission, in my opinion. The mission is just to service a certain group of people that we've identified, and to serve maybe as something else. However, it's gotten a little bit, I think, to where when you're making a lot of money at a place off of which, you know, they're making what, 30, 50,000 a year or something. There was some confidential talk. Yeah, I don't know much more I can tell you other than that. There's been some chatter because of how word on the street works and how intelligence and such works as well, with certain placement of knowledge and wisdom, and some of those people are exploiting a system that exists here in this place, but they're trying to represent a certain type of belief system that they believe runs on a certain cycle that's already pre-existing and such. So there's some that are involved in a certain type of work, and don't get me wrong, not saying that they're all bad. However, there are some that they don't utilize the appropriate discretion, and there's a lot of suffering.
Do you usually sleep there at the mission?
I haven't slept at the mission for well over a year easily. Yeah, it's got several factors to it. There's some representations that I think the mission's a smaller version of the city, which is a smaller version of something else outside of this, but there's a lot larger effects in these areas than you would have in other places, I would say, in my opinion. There's something that's a little more localized where it's pretty obvious, hey, certain parts of town, there's no problem. Over here, what the hell's going on?
So where do you sleep at night, Derek?
It's kind of here and there right now. I've kind of been kicking it in the doorway at Triumph Treatment there on the corner of Pierce and Summit View. Pam walks over me sometimes. Oh, no, you're fine. I send some information to a bunch of places. Don't know if I have all the right email addresses sometimes, but this is a pretty serious situation. I'm a very serious person. So serious am I that we're able to have, I think, what I think is something that's not necessarily a normal event taking place.
Right.
There are some things that factor into this. Some things have been shut down in a way that we already know it's taken care of. It's kind of creepy, and some people are into creepy things, especially if you can explain it.
For sure. Did you say if you do the blues? I can't remember.
No.
No, right?
I'm a blue person.
You're a blue person. It's the first time I hear that. Do you do any drugs at all?
Do I do any drugs?
Yeah.
I work with different things in technology that have simulated considerations.
Oh, okay.
And so the effect then is able to be seen out here on those that are actually using stuff in a different technology division where it's actually separated, so we know the difference. Not that just somebody is doing stuff. I have many ways of simulating different types of effects that would otherwise not be taking place.
All right, Derek. I appreciate your time once again. Thank you so much. Would you be okay with me posting this on my YouTube channel?
Yes, I would.
Do you have a message for family or friends if they see this?
Make sure she gets hers first.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with doing another follow-up in the future?
Yes, I would.
Sweet. Thank you, Derek.
You're welcome.
Take care.